Imagine you're sitting face to face with a loved one, someone you care deeply about, but their behavior is draining you. Constant anger, suspicion, explosive words, and uncontrolled actions. You wonder, why are they like this? Why aren't my siblings? Why does my older child show signs of narcissism, but the younger one doesn't? These questions aren't just curiosity, they're a cry for help, a desire to understand in order to avoid repetition, especially if you grew up with narcissistic parents, and you don't want the next generation to suffer the same fate. Today, we're going to explore the origins of narcissism, not to excuse it, but to understand the weapon that causes harm, to help you protect yourself and your children. This isn't a reason to blame. Many people go through terrible things and still don't become narcissists. But understanding this can free you from the guilt
that everything is your fault. First, let's talk about innate temperament. This is the biological part of personality, something we're born with, mostly genetic. If you have multiple children, you know, each child is different from day one. Some babies are easy to soothe, sleep well, cry little. But those with difficult temperaments, fussy, hard to console, poor sleepers, impulsive, it's like drawing the short straw. They demand more. They exhaust parents. These children often seek constant attention, react strongly, impulsively, and the world responds with scolding. Sit still. Why are you so naughty? This can lead to physical or verbal abuse from tired parents. The result? The child feels insecure, always needing validation but unable to control their behavior. In childhood, they may have problems at school, impulsive actions, defiance, and teachers unwittingly invalidate their emotions. These things can carry into adulthood, where the narcissist remains impulsive, defiant, and lacking control. But don't panic. Not every child with a difficult temperament becomes a narcissist. Many grow up balanced, thanks to a supportive environment. This is just probability, a warning that the environment can steer temperament in a healthy direction. If you're a parent of a difficult child, be more patient, more supportive. Awareness is the key to avoiding the double punch of biology and environment. Think about such children. They may cry more, be harder to soothe, and demand constant attention from a young age. Parents, no matter how loving, can get tired, leading to less than ideal reactions. The child learns to act out for attention, but doesn't learn to self-regulate emotions. As adults, they may struggle in school, where teachers scold for impulsive behavior, reinforcing insecurity. This lays the foundation for later lack of empathy and anger. But not always. Many children overcome it with timely support. Now, let's dive deeper into trauma. Not every narcissist has a history of trauma, and not everyone who experiences trauma becomes a narcissist. But trauma, especially during periods of rapid brain development, from infancy to emerging adulthood, changes how the brain processes the world. Heightened vigilance, fear, perceiving threats, impulsivity, uncontrolled emotions, either too much or too little, accompanied by re-experiencing and avoidance. In narcissists with trauma, we see near-paranoid suspicion, thin-skinned anger, lack of empathy, impulsivity, all traceable back to early trauma, especially if inflicted by family, like abuse from parents, older siblings, or witnessing domestic violence. They repeat the cruel behaviors they witnessed, like a toxic loop, where the child learns the world is a dangerous place, and they must attack first to protect themselves. Post-traumatic elements in narcissism are often more severe in the vulnerable or malignant types. Suspicion, aggression, threats, manipulation, making relationships unsafe. If you're in such a relationship and know their trauma history, you'll face a huge cognitive dissonance. It explains the hostility, but also makes you think, if I leave, I'll hurt them more, or I have to endure their anger because they've suffered. But listen, you're not a punching bag or a regulator for someone who's always angry and suspicious. You're not responsible for their history, and enduring it only prolongs the problem. It doesn't help them. They may use trauma to manipulate. I witnessed my dad beating my mom. I was attacked. Keeping you stuck. That's not a relationship. That's psychological imprisonment. Imagine, You hear the heartbreaking story, your heart softens, and you stay, thinking love will heal. But they don't change, only use it to justify bad behavior. Most people who experience trauma don't become narcissists, thanks to therapy or different temperaments. If they don't seek therapy and use bullying to get through the day, that's unacceptable. Being an adult means taking responsibility, recognizing wrong behavior, changing, or leaving if it's harmful. No both. If you have narcissistic traits related to trauma, seek trauma-informed therapy, hard work but necessary to live more fully. If you're with someone like that, get support for yourself. And if safety is threatened, seek resources immediately. They'll be in the video notes. No reason excuses abuse, only explanations, not forgiveness.
Trauma may explain the anger, but it doesn't allow them to dump it on you. You deserve safety. Next, chaotic family systems, narcissistic or dysfunctional families. You might think, if the family is chaotic, deceitful, manipulative, doesn't it run in the genes? Not necessarily. Many narcissistic behaviors come from social learning, observing and imitating. In these families, rules are broken regularly, even laws. Defiance is tolerated, affairs, lying widespread. Physical abuse, addiction, domestic violence, all excused. This system survives because the harmful people hold power through fear. Some walk on eggshells, others enable. Family is family, we must stick together. Survival means escaping, building resilience, therapy, boundaries, but they pull you back with guilt. You owe the family, give money. These families are like a never-ending storm. Children grow up in chaos.
Learn that lying is survival. Anger is normal language. In this chaos, no one holds the door. Children aren't protected. Schedules are erratic. Expectations vague. Even kind people live in fear, not caring well. This disrupts attachment processes, creates a vulnerable environment. Strangers dangerous. Predators easily enter, preying on children. Children are at higher risk for external trauma, trying drugs, since family already does, running away, poor school performance, acting out at school. The legacy spreads. These families create ongoing chaos, sometimes repeating across generations, where children learn manipulation to survive. When exposed to anger, lying, betrayal, abuse, some people habituate, see it as normal. You might not recognize it in later relationships or work. I once asked a friend, "Aren't you afraid when he yells in your face?" She said, "He doesn't yell at me. My dad was worse, and my dad loved me, so yelling is fine." That's a dangerous justification. Did you grow up in a narcissistic family where abuse became normal, making you less likely to recognize it elsewhere, or more sensitive? Our nervous systems hate yelling and fear, creating hypervigilance, anxiety, self-blame, even in safe places. You might tremble when someone raises their voice, even if not at you, because the brain is wired for alertness. If you come from a chaotic family but didn't become like that, you might have high anxiety, trauma bonding easily, repeating cycles. Understanding history helps you slow down in relationships, build self-compassion. Family shapes us but doesn't define us. Many escape with deep wounds but compassionate hearts. History creates vulnerabilities, not excuses for bad behavior.
We don't exclude anyone just for their past, but current behavior decides. Ask yourself, are you repeating cycles from childhood? Recognition is the first step to breaking them. Now, attachment theory, from John Bowlby and Mary Ainsworth in the 1950s. They showed children need a consistent, safe adult as a secure base, a place to return to when stressed. Good caregivers must be present, responsive, consistent. It's normal for a child to be upset by short separations, but quickly soothed if securely attached. Attachment styles. Secure, upset when apart, happy when reunited, easily soothed. Anxious, distressed when apart, hard to soothe when reunited, wants closeness, then punishes. Avoidant, little upset when apart, avoids when reunited. Disorganized, fearful due to trauma. Narcissists often have an anxious adult style, always fearing abandonment. Angry when needs unmet, push-pull, wanting comfort then punishing. They seem cold, lacking empathy, obsessed. Explains hoovering, dramatic fights, breakups, then returns. That's the angry child still there, punishing you for abandoning them, even if just going to work. Anxious style comes from unavailable parents. Truly absent, chaotic home, stress, selfishness, or narcissism. The child has no secure base, feels abandoned, hard to self-soothe, carries into adult relationships, abandonment anxiety, clinginess, anger. The paradox: knowing their anxious attachment makes you want to fix it by always being there, but you're not their parent. That's an unhealthy role, turning you into the parent of a sulking child. They need therapy to address it. Learn to self-soothe instead of dumping anger on partners. This theory explains narcissism globally. Wealthy or poor parents can be unavailable.
Children experience the same, impacting intimacy, empathy, self-soothing, fear of abandonment, revenge. If you're a parent, be consistent, present, responsive. Put down devices. Reflect child's emotions. Are you sad? Tell mommy. Have goodbye hello rituals, songs, handshakes, make them comforting. Be aware of your own attachment style. If anxious, you might hover too much or make the world scary. Just one secure attachment figure is enough, even with a narcissistic co-parent. The brain is plastic, never too late to improve. Spend 10 minutes a day just playing with your child, no distractions. What do you do to avoid raising narcissistic kids through attachment? Share in the comments. The world isn't all secure attachments, but understanding helps us build better. I see dedicated parents with narcissistic kids and bad parents with great ones. Temperament, genetics, luck play roles.
It's not your fault if your child has issues. We're still learning about narcissism origins, not absolute. You may have done the best you could, and kids still choose their paths. That's life. Thanks for listening. If helpful, like, subscribe, share to help others understand narcissistic abuse. You're not alone. We're stronger together. Remember, understanding origins isn't for forgiveness, but for healing and moving forward.